The knock came just after midnight. Soft at first, almost swallowed by the rain, but urgent enough to wake a man who had learned to sleep lightly despite his wealth. Outside, the wind rattled loose branches and a broken porch light flickered across a small figure standing barefoot on the concrete. Her voice was thin and trembling, carrying a fear too big for her age, and with one simple question, an entire night and many lives were about to change in ways no one could have imagined. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet moments that reveal who we truly are, take a second right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel, because stories like this remind us that humanity often shows up when we least expect it. Emily Carter had never imagined her life shrinking so quickly. Once, she had a small but warm home, a steady job, and a husband she believed would grow old beside her. Instead, she found herself alone with her 5-year-old daughter Lily in a rundown duplex on the edge of a quiet suburban neighborhood in Ohio. The divorce had been brutal, not just emotionally but financially, leaving Emily with debt, fear, and a constant knot of worry in her chest. She worked double shifts as a nursing assistant, leaving before sunrise and returning long after dark, doing everything she could to keep food on the table and a roof over their heads. Every night, she prayed silently that nothing would go wrong while she slept, because she had no strength left to handle more. The duplex had an old wooden door that never quite closed right. Emily had reported it to the landlord countless times, but promises never turned into repairs. She wedged a chair under the handle each night and told Lily it was just a game, pretending the house was a castle, and the door a secret entrance only they could open. But when the storm hit that night, the wood swelled, the lock cracked, and the door refused to stay shut. Each gust of wind pushed it open with a hollow groan, letting cold air and fear flood the small living room. Lily woke up crying, convinced something bad was coming. Emily tried to calm her, but her own hands were shaking as she pushed the door closed again and again. The chair slipped, the hinges screamed, and for the first time since the divorce, Emily felt truly helpless. She wanted to call someone, anyone, but there was no family nearby, no money for emergency repairs, and no strength left to pretend everything was fine. Next door lived Daniel Brooks, a man most people in the neighborhood barely knew. They saw his sleek black car, his quiet routines, and assumed he was just another distant professional passing through. Few knew he was the CEO of a national construction and housing firm, a man who negotiated million-dollar deals by day and came home to silence by night. Daniel had built his career from nothing after losing his parents young, believing that control and success could protect him from pain. But the higher he climbed, the lonelier life became. His large house felt empty, filled with achievements but no warmth. That night, Daniel was awake, staring at his phone, unable to sleep as the storm reminded him of the night his mother died during a similar blackout years ago. He had learned to associate darkness and noise with loss, and sleep never came easily when the weather turned. That was when he heard the knock, hesitant but desperate, and then the small voice that cut through his guarded world. When Daniel opened the door and saw Lily standing there in an oversized sweater, rain dripping from her hair, he froze. She looked at him with wide eyes and said the words that would echo in his mind for years, asking if he could fix their door, because her mommy was scared. In that moment, his title, his wealth, and his carefully constructed emotional walls meant nothing. All he saw was a child asking for safety. He grabbed his coat and tools without asking questions, following Lily next door. Emily stood inside, mortified and exhausted, apologizing through tears she could no longer hold back. Daniel did not judge. He did not lecture. He simply worked, reinforcing the door, replacing the broken lock, sealing the gaps, and making sure it closed securely. The storm raged outside, but inside, something settled. When the door finally shut with a solid, reassuring click, Lily smiled and hugged her mother, finally calm. Daniel noticed the cracked walls, the worn furniture, and the quiet dignity Emily carried despite her circumstances. He left without fanfare, refusing any thanks, telling Emily only that neighbors look out for each other. In the days that followed, Daniel could not stop thinking about that night. For the first time in years, his work felt connected to something real. He had spent his life building structures for profit, but one repaired door had done more good than any boardroom victory. Emily, meanwhile, felt a cautious sense of relief she had not known in a long time. She still struggled, still worried, but knowing someone had shown up when she was at her lowest restored a small piece of her faith in people. Their paths crossed again in simple ways. Daniel offered rides during heavy rain. Emily shared extra soup when she cooked too much. Lily waved every morning, her trust unguarded and pure. Slowly, without either of them realizing it, a bond formed, built not on rescue or obligation, but mutual respect and quiet understanding. Emily faced ongoing challenges. Bills piled up. Her job grew more demanding. Guilt haunted her for the life she could not give her daughter. There were nights she cried silently, asking God why strength never seemed enough. But each time she felt like giving up, something small shifted. A schedule change at work, a kind word from a coworker, a neighbor who checked in, and always Lily, whose resilience mirrored her own. Daniel confronted his own struggles as well. He began questioning the purpose of his success, realizing that control had not healed his loneliness. He started volunteering anonymously through his company, pushing for affordable housing projects, inspired by the reality he had seen next door. The little girl's question that night had awakened something he thought was long buried, a desire not just to build, but to protect. Months passed and winter came. Emily was offered a better position at the hospital, thanks in part to a recommendation Daniel quietly arranged without taking credit. Her confidence grew, not because she was saved, but because she was supported without being diminished. She learned that accepting help did not mean failure, and strength could coexist with vulnerability. One evening, during a neighborhood power outage, Emily and Lily found themselves sitting in Daniel's living room, sharing candles and stories. The silence that once filled his home felt different now, warmer, alive. Faith entered conversations naturally, not as sermons, but shared values. They spoke of loss, hope, and the belief that God often works through ordinary people willing to show up. Just before the ending, take a moment to comment below and tell us whether you believe small acts of kindness can change the direction of a life. Years later, Emily would think back to that stormy night and realize it marked the turning point in her story. Not because a wealthy man fixed a door, but because someone answered when fear knocked. Daniel would look at Lily, now older and still fearless, and know that success meant nothing.